you cannot escape from the responsibility of the code. You can transfer the responsibility to the AI agent that I didn't do it, the
Yeah.
AI did it.
If I use this often, I may lose my ability to the code. I may lose my job. Probably, whenever the AI thing comes into the picture, that question is obvious.
Right.
So
I haven't written a single line of program for last 6 months, and then I created all these application in no time. So that actually motivates me to do this more. You need to empower our engineers, or you need to tell our engineers how useful it is when you use it in the right way. Don't worry about AI taking your job.
hi all, welcome to Stream, a technology podcast by Travancore Analytics. I'm here with Anwer Sadath. He's our CTO in Travancore Analytics. Moreover, he's a friend of mine. He's having expertise around 20 years in this IT field. So, welcome to Stream, Anwar.
Thank you, Akhil.
Um, Vibe coding. It's a term that we recently hear more than often. Vibe. It's actually a Gen Z term clubbed together with the coding. So I'm actually wondered why. I'm just explaining why, how, and what exactly this vibe coding is. You can just brief what exactly vibe coding.
Right. I'll tell you my experience with the vibe coding. So I did my first vibe coded application in 2023 when we were doing a project for one of our customer in US. I was on the field and I was testing some application there. So I had to build a quick application to configure something on a server. So what I was doing, which was tested on a golf field. So that day in the hotel, what I did was I tried ChatGPT.
Okay.
I asked ChatGPT to help me to build a full Swift UI application. Swift UI was very new to me, and we never developed an application using the Swift UI during that time.
Okay.
So what I did was I created this Swift UI application to configure all this. So it took me almost 4 hours to build that application. So that was completely using the ChatGPT. It's a very basic version of the ChatGPT.
Okay.
You will have to tell ChatGPT to create the first UI and what are the things that you needed to modify in that. That was not actually a proper vibe coding that time. So recently, I have created a full working web application using cursor in no time. Like it took
Yeah.
almost 1 or 2 days for me to build an entire application, which actually we use internally among the senior leadership.
Okay.
So instead of writing the code by yourself line by line, you ask these the models, like, or the editors or the applications that we call the cursor,
Okay.
cloud code, or copilot, github copilot, and anti-gravity. These tools that you can use to build the entire application, that is what
Okay.
we call the vibe coding. So you don't even have to write a single line of code by yourself. You just type the prompt and it will generate the entire application for you. So that is what we call the vibe coding these days.
Okay. So when I just came into the vibe coding, initially what I experienced is as normally the developers will be afraid of using AI agents, and normally what we do is when someone actually go behind when I'm just giving some prompt in the agent, so I will just change the tab so that they won't notice what I'm doing with the agent, so what they will think. So they will just think, okay, this guy is using ChatGPT, so he doesn't have that capability to develop.
Right.
So that was the earlier phase.
Right.
So my level of involving AI agents is basically into that extent until the vibe coding. I came into the workshop you actually conducted for the vibe coding. So initially, I was wondering what exactly that workshop will give me. For example, I know how to use AI agents. I know about vibe coding. Just use the AI agents to do the vibe coding, but I am not sure how I just need to do. So I assume there will be a line we can draw in between. Some lazy developers just do the coding using a AI agent without analyzing, without verifying anything. They just give a prompt. They will accept whatever actually the outcome come from the AI agent. And there will be a part where a professional doing this vibe coding with exact plans, how execute these things. So in your aspect, how an organization who is actually planning to step into vibe coding, what's the relevance of this sort of workshop, any guidelines that we can provide to them?
Right. I'll tell you what we follow in our organization. You already know that we have this standard and the policies when it comes to the AI assisted programming. So there are two philosophies that we follow, or two underlying principle of this entire AI based development. One is that even though this code is developed by AI, you cannot escape from the responsibility of the code. So you are responsible for. You can transfer the responsibility to the AI agent that I didn't do it. The AI
Yeah,
did this.
yeah.
So that is a principle. First principle that we follow. The responsibility that actually you have the responsibility and you own the code and you have full responsibility on that code. That is the first thing. The second thing is that you need to do the code review. So that is 100% that you should be doing the code review. So our policy is that if AI write the code, the developer should review the code.
Okay.
Then if the developer writes the code, then you can ask the AI to review the code. So we want every engineers to follow that. So even these are the core things that that you need to follow, and the importance of having this kind of workshop that we did two workshop internally, and we have been training all our engineers using all these tools. And we don't specifically tell any engineers that you should do this particular tool and all, but they can use whatever they are comfortable of, but they will have to follow all these standards. Basically the two things that I mentioned earlier, so they will have to follow that. So people will have a little bit of hesitance when they start you doing this, because I heard people saying that, okay, I lose my all skills, right? I was also thinking the same thing, right? What I used to do, write a lot of programs, a lot of code. Now when I started writing or prompts for the programs, then I was thinking like, okay, I haven't written a single line of program for last 6 months, and then I created all these application in no time. So that actually motivates me to do this more. So you need to empower our engineers, or you need to tell our engineers how useful it is when you use it in the right way. Mm. So that is something that we will have to do. So speaking of the training, so you also attended the training, right? So how was your experience with the training? And as a technology team lead, we are asking all the technology team leads to follow this kind of vibe coding, use the AI assisted programming in every development team. So what was your experience with the team members when you tell them, okay, you will have to start doing this? What was your experience there?
When you initially do that vibe coding session, I was not part of that. So I was thinking, okay, why I am not part of that? Probably I'm actually leading a technological group, but I should be also aware of how the things happening in the technology field, right? So I was actually having some difficulties. Okay, I actually missed an opportunity to get into this session, but later uh, I actually get into the second session. So
Right.
I was wondering how that will be useful for me. So instead of just doing some just prompting to the AI agents and doing some coding, so what other than that, what exactly I learned, I will learn from that session. So from the first day of the session, so you explain how we need to do the vibe coding, right? Initially we have to create a plan. So then when you mentioned about the plan, then only I came to know that there is a in the cursor there is a there's an option to create a plan before we do the coding.
Right.
So initially I thought just do the prompt and it actually automatically generates some sort of a code, and I just need to review that, then do modification over that. But you mentioned there is a plan, so that we have to create initial plan, then based on the plan just review, then switch to the agent mode, and agent will start building the code. That's exactly where i I was initially thought that start of that process. But I came to know that this is not the start. There is a plan area as well. Then I you mentioned we should review, so I started to review what exactly the plan agents actually gave me, and what exactly the code of the. I just initially created some sort of a folder structure. I I started documenting everything what the agent is doing, and then comparing with the code, so that I will get a clear idea what exactly the agent is doing instead of creating random redundant code. So I can make sure that every code generated is aligning with the plan or not.
Right.
So that was the major take point from that session. So that's how I started using AI agents for my projects or the other POC projects we have been working on. So in any view, that session was very much useful. Not just me, all the developers and the leads actually attended the training. We already got the feedback that they have actually been using this. So I was initially wondering how much tokens I use, you know that. So I just mentioned how we can control that. Instead of controlling the tokens, we can just, you mentioned we can just control the prompt, how we need to
Right.
prompt instead of giving a vast idea to the agent. Just focus on what you need at that specific point.
Right.
So that was very insightful. That session was very insightful. So I'm currently using the whiteboard. So as you mentioned, the hesitance towards using the vibe coding, I actually face a similar question from my own developers as well. So they will be thinking, okay, what if I use this often, um, I may lose my ability to the code. Additionally, I may lose my job. Probably whenever the AI thing comes into the picture, that question is obvious.
Right.
So am I
That is
losing my
everywhere,
job?
right? So every job, if you don't, even if you don't use a vibe coding or the AI based programming for your job, if you don't write a good code, that problem is always there, right? So yeah.
Even if you need to review something, you have to know what exactly
Right.
the agent is actually
There is one point there. In TA, the way that, so you mentioned that you are not in the first set of people that we selected for this session. So the training session is planned for middle level engineers first. Then we wanted our seniors to know about it, because these are the things that is possible with the vibe coding. So that's why we had that. And you might have noticed that we never trained our engineers who is less than 2 years of experience in our
Yeah.
organization. That is also intentional. So we want our junior level engineers, at least when they start, even the freshers that we recently hired, we haven't trained them. So we want our junior level engineers to know about the coding even before they go to the vibe coding. This is my experience, because my personal experience, the AI agents are not that smart enough to solve all the problems, right? So if something happens on the code, if something is not working, you'll have to have that ability to look back in the code and check that. In order to get that kind of a knowledge, you will have to have some basic idea of how things works, right? So that level of knowledge needed that. So that's why we planned for our very level junior engineers. We train them on normal coding. They are going through all this training, internal training, that training plans that we are having in TA. So they will have to go through all this training. Then we will train them how to use all these tools. Then we will ask our senior members to review their code, even though it is generated by AI, even though they do their self review, but we will ask senior level people to review their code. So that kind of plan that we are internally executing as part of moving towards the fully AI based AI assisted programming in our organization.
Normally I see clients actually say, okay, you can just use the AI.
Right.
But how, I mean, I was wondering when people or developers start using AI agents and do the coding using AI, this won't be in on-premise implementation. Like probably it actually use actual online servers in order to do the coding. So how would you see the client, the clients will accept this, I mean, this method of coding as a practice.
Right.
Probably they may be having some doubts how this will be controlled in your environment, and can we do it on premise. So how often that question normally comes into your discussions with clients?
So I get this question a lot these days. Initially, when we planned our AI strategy 2 years back, when we started planning our AI strategy, one of the things that we internally planned was to educate people about this. How does this local model works? How does this OpenAI APIs works? So what happens when you type something on the ChatGPT? What happens when you use the Copilot in your development environment? So we were talking to our customers about this, and we have taken sessions to our customers. Um, not only our engineers, we have taken the sessions to our customers, explaining them this is how it works, so you don't have to worry about certain things, and that certain things are um, uh, properly controlled inside the organization. So and the another question that I always get from the customer recently, I'm getting this multiple from multiple people, is that so there are certain applications that we people build. So in these sessions, where what I take to the discuss with our customers, one of the example that I used to tell them that I have created a Jira like application for internally. So the sprint flow that we are using internally, which is almost similar to Jira. I collected a requirement from you because your team is extensively using Jira and all. So I collected that information. In 2 weeks time, I could build this Jira like application that can be used for Kanban or any other sprint planning, and also for the project execution we could use that. So when I talk about this sprint flow and how I build sprint flow in 10 days, so then the next question that they ask me that oh, what is going to happen to my application, right? Because we have been working with TA for this long to build this application. Tomorrow somebody comes and create a similar application as you do in the next
Yes,
10
correct.
20 days time. What is going to happen my application? That is possible. But my answer to that question is always that that you cannot copy, because in most of our cases customers has this domain knowledge, the product that they are building, so they do have immense experience in that particular field, and they do have a lot of knowledge about that field. So the reason why we could build Jira, because we have been using Jira for last 5-10 years, so extensively in all our projects. So we know the features and all these functionalities of Jira. That's the reason why we could build. And we are I'm a core programmer. I used to develop a lot of applications. I do know how these applications works and all. Somebody from in a random person cannot come and build all these applications in no time. So that is right now that is not possible.
So additionally, when we think about the licensing things, so there has been, I think, pro licensing, I guess. So it had a huge cost as well. So
Right.
we may have multiple licenses in a specific team. So how that can be managed? So normally, how does the cost actually affect, or how often, how much we can use a specific license in a development purpose? So I normally see these tokens will burn out
Mm.
very quickly. But even if I saw that it's actually turning into a free mode,
Right.
but I guess there won't be any issue specific to that free mode, I guess. So probably we can continue using free mode as well, right?
I don't think so, because in the production code you should not be using any free mode, because even though there are controls there, but if it is paid, we believe that they don't use this data for training. And there are settings in most of these applications. There are settings that you can turn it off to avoid using this data for the training. But I wouldn't prefer people using the free mode if it is a production ready code. In the instruction that we have given to all our project managers is that if if in some project, if customer wanted us to use, so we encourage customers to use the AI based programming, and encourage our engineers to use the AI based programming. In some cases, if customer doesn't want to pay for this license, we still tell them, okay, we can start with our licenses that we are using, but eventually you will have to pay for this. So most of our customers are ready to pay for that, because instead of spending 5 hours or 5 days for a particular task, if they can finish in 5 hours, that's a advantage for our customers as well. So they know that, so they are ready to pay for that. So um, we want our engineers to use this. In most of our project we are using Cursor for the developments, and we ask our engineers to request for these licenses. Then based on the usage in the project, that we will give them licenses if the customer is not giving. And coming back to your question about the tokens burning out, that's a very serious problem. So we usually hear that from our engineers. So we'll have to check why it is happening. So it's all about how specifically that you instruct this model to, or these tools to write or do a certain things. So if you ask them to generic do something in a general way, it might take a lot of tokens to build that functionality. Then you will try to correct that functionality, then again it will use a lot of tokens there. So instead of that, if you are very clear about what needs to be done, so this is like an assistant, it's not a worker for you. So you clearly instruct this tool or these models to make certain things in a certain way, then this will not get confused, then you will be able to save a lot of tokens there. So that is going to be the real challenge, because right now you are not writing the code, but now you will have to get trained on the how to write good prompts and do the review. So review is the second important thing there. Once you write a good prompt, the application will generate the code. Now you will have to review it, and you will have to give the next instruction based on the review to build this application.
I assume that the context also makes sense, right?
Right. Yeah.
If you are asking the agent to do something in a specific context and just randomly switch back to a different context and ask a different question, it actually,
Right.
the previous context it actually worked on, that data is probably there, and start looking for other contexts as well. So
Correct.
I
True.
guess that
That
that's
is
also
already right.
impacting that token
Right.
burned out there.
Correct. So, but before we move to the next thing, I wanted to ask you something about you started using this in your regular day-to-day activities, like, so how do you feel about it? So is it useful, or um, what is your honest opinion on this? Because I I have a lot of experience building applications. I'm very much convinced that okay, this is going to be there for some long. So what is your thoughts on? Is it going to be done in a
So
couple of years?
basically, I feel like an assistant who's actually sitting next to you, and you actually give proper instructions how to do that. So the only part is actually it's doing the coding within a lot more, a lot less time than earlier. So probably if you do the coding, probably you have to invest more time on that. But it actually do the coding, but it in on an I mean, I just need to regularly monitor what exactly it's doing, and it actually saves time as well. So when I get into more into this vibe coding thing, so it actually saves more time than just for example just like automation. So I normally use this for automation. So initially for automation I just need to write every test script and everything, but I know the context how the test need to be executed, and but probably I can just ask to generate a code that I will be reviewing. So it's way more easier, I am way more efficient in the time aspect. So I will be having a number of things to handle, but I can just give a proper instruction to a agent and I can continue my other work. So then just come back and review what exactly it actually gave me. So in every aspect, I think it's very much useful. But
Any exciting stories that you can share, like anything that you excite? Oh my God, this can do this.
so exciting thing is I mean, it's not a big deal, but it's actually a big deal for me. So when I start that's during the session we have a specific project we actually do, right? So during the project, I normally think in an aspect how a reviewer will review the code. So it actually gave me some code. Then I saw the code. It doesn't have this comments, proper function headers, proper code comments, section dividing modules. So I actually asked to create a specific set of rule. I wasn't aware it actually possible. It's possible before I prompt the AI agent.
Mm.
I just ask that agent to create a specific set of rule and ask ask about doing some other coding. Then just prompt, okay, apply this specific rule I created earlier. So easily it actually applied all the rules I initially wrote. So basically, I'm just giving a guidelines. I'm creating guidelines for the developers and asking them to follow. Instead, here I'm created a rule and just asking the AI agent to apply that. So very, I mean, instead of asking every time, it actually follows. Then later phase with, I mean, even I'm not asking the AI agents to follow the rule. It actually automatically follow all the rules I written in the rule
Right.
rule 5. So that was an exciting thing because I normally do this sort of guideline creation for the team. So they have to follow so that I don't give repeated review comments. So and that code will looks way more clean, easily understandable, readability. So these things can be put it as a role for AI agent. That was actually exciting.
Right.
And so when since we are discussing on white coding, so there has been different technologies in the past which came and just vanished, right? So how do you see this white coding aspect in the future? Is it, will it be the same or will it stay for a long
It will. One thought that I always having is that this licensing cost of these tools that we are using, right? How much it will cost for each developer, and their tokens are burning out. Then they will have to upgrade. And we have been hearing a lot of news that the Uber's budget for AI is all consumed in certain in couple of months time. So this kind of news that when you hear, so that is something that I always think how it is going to be in future. So one possibility that I see that so the Mac machine that I use, this M5, the latest one Mac, right? So these devices are capable enough to run certain models. So there could be a possibility in future these companies like Apple will come up with the machines or the laptops which can run these kind of tools locally, and that, so you spend like an X amount of money on that particular machine. That amount will be a very big amount. That's an initial investment, but then you don't have to worry about the tokens and all. So that's what I think in future there will be machines that is capable of doing everything in locally, and GPU or TPU kind of technologies. So there will also be these kind of improvements will come, then cost will come down, like the streaming that we do right now. Because when we started the media streaming, um, the internet cost was too high, right? And we were streaming 320 pixel height videos and all. Now we are talking about 4K videos, and we are streaming that 4K video in our phones and TVs with the minimum cost. So there could be a situation like that will come also in the in this industry as well, or in this particular area as well, right?
so being part of ICTA is actually promoting vibe coding more and more. So I hope everyone will look into this specific aspect, how we can use this as an professional way, also in a way that it will save the cost
Right.
and time for the clients as well. So I look forward to that future. So and yeah, since I have been talking to you about these sort of technology things in a daily basis, so it was a good opportunity that to
Right.
talk to you
Every
about.
day, every day that you learn something. I have very exciting things happened yesterday. So I was casually talking to Vibin about Go language. So I never wrote any program in the Go language. We have been we have engineers who can do Go language and all, but I haven't seen any program so far which is in the Go language, right? So we were talking casually about one of our application that we built. Uh, I said if you can convert that into Go language, that will be better than that you use the um, JavaScript or any other the the prototyping languages that we are using. So I was casually when we were going back to home yesterday, we went together. When we were going back to home, the car, I was just I asked ChatGPT what is the basics of Go language, and ChatGPT gave me, okay, this is what Go language is, this is how it works and all. And then Cloud Code to convert one of our application, which is in node based application, to Golang. Imagine this entire application, we took almost a month or two to build that entire application. This was like a media streaming conversion application that we built. So it took almost an hour, less than an hour to build the entire application. And another 10-15 minutes, I was able to set up everything. Then I could run the application and test it and made sure it is working fine. Every day, all these tools are getting matured and adding new features, a lot of functionalities, features that you can use, right? So if you consider this as a tool or an assistant to you, your life will also be very calm and peaceful. So don't worry about don't worry about AI taking over you, right? AI taking your job. You use this tool as the your helper, right? I used to talk to our junior engineers about AI as a dragon, right? So what imagine that you have a dragon with you, right? So thing. So what you will do with the dragon? And dragon will have a lot of power, right? So AI, all these tools are like dragons, right? If you use it wisely, then you can control it and you can make use of it. But if you don't use it, if you don't manage dragon very well, what is going to happen? So then you you will get burned. So
Yeah,
that could
basically it's
happen.
offering limited opportunities, and we
Right.
can easily, we have the rights to do the experiments within
Exactly.
no
Right.
time.
Right.
So
Keep your eyes and ears open. Do all the experiments using this. When you work on a production level code, follow all the standards that you are supposed
yeah,
to
there
follow
should be
from the
guidelines.
organization. That guidelines and standards are very important, and every organization should have a assisted programming guidelines for every organization. That should follow that as well.
Basically, with that exact control, we can just train our engineers. So anyone actually focusing on getting to vibe coding, they can just train their engineers to do proper a professional way of vibe coding.
Exactly. Correct. All
Yeah.
right.
Thanks for spending this much time
No
enlightening
worries.
us with the vibe coding aspect, how that approach is currently in the field and how it can be in the future. So I hope our stream viewers can also get a proper idea of how this vibe coding thing is. And I expect someone just so I'm seeing this podcast, they may get it vibe coding, that also an achievement for us, I guess.
Right. Right.
So thanks for joining the stream, and
No
thank you.
worries. Thank you so much for having me here. Right. Thank you.
Yeah.